Hello, everyone. Today, I'll repurpose a cylindrical metal tin can to make a simple antenna. First, I drill a small hole in the center of the bottom of the tin can. This opening will be used to route the wire or connection component through the can. Next, I use a marker to draw a small rectangle near the edge of the tin can and mark the area that needs to be modified. Then I use a cutting tool to cut along the marked lines, creating a small slot in the edge of the can. This slot provides space for the wire to pass through while helping the tin can remain stable and preventing the wire from shifting it during assembly. Next, I prepare a length of signal cable to connect the antenna's receiving section to the TV. First, I remove the outer black insulation to expose the wires inside. Next, I gather and organize the shielding wires neatly so they do not become tangled and are easier to work with during the connection process. Then, I continue stripping the white plastic insulation to expose the copper conductor inside. Here, I prepare an F5 connector and a copper cable shaft to make the connection point for the signal cable. I attach these components to the end of the cable and secure them firmly to create a stable connector. Next, I wrap electrical tape around the joint to hold the components in place and protect the contact area from becoming loose during assembly. Then I insert the signal cable connector through the hole I drilled in the bottom of the tin can and adjust it so the connector fits securely, preparing for the next assembly steps. Every like and subscription motivates me to create more creative DIY projects. Thank you so much for your support. In the next step, I use a short piece of signal cable to make the receiving section for the antenna. First, I strip the insulation from the end of the cable to expose the conductor and create a connection point for the receiver. Next, I attach an F5 connector to the end of the signal cable. This connector allows the receiving section to connect to the antenna's signal cable more conveniently and securely. Then, I strip a longer section of the outer insulation from the signal cable. This video is for educational purposes only and is intended for DIY enthusiasts. Projects involving soldering, electricity, and mechanical tools can involve potential risks. Always wear appropriate protective equipment, follow proper safety procedures, and use tools correctly. Do not attempt any dangerous procedures if you do not have the necessary knowledge or experience. Once the outer covering is removed, the copper conductor inside is exposed as a longer section that can be reused as part of the receiving element. Next, I use the lid of the tin can as the main part of the receiver. I wrap the exposed copper conductor around the tab on the lid, creating a compact metal structure for the receiving element. After that, I use a wooden board as the standing base for the antenna. I place the tin can in the center of the board and apply hot glue around the contact area to secure it firmly and keep the antenna stable. Next, I attach the homemade receiving element to the signal cable connector mounted on the tin can, completing the connection between the receiver and the main antenna assembly. I repeat the same process on the other end of the cable to create another connection point. Then, I attach the cable to a TV connector. This connector allows the cable to connect directly to the TV's antenna input, making installation and removal more convenient. I wrap electrical tape tightly around the joint to secure the connection and protect the contact point from becoming loose or accidentally shorting during use. At this point, the antenna is complete and ready for a signal reception test. Now, I'm going to test it in real-world conditions to see how effective it really is. First, I'll switch to a TV channel to check the signal reception without connecting the antenna. As you can see, without the antenna connected, the TV only displays the message, no signal. Next, I'll connect the DIY antenna to the signal input on the back of the TV for the actual test. And here is the result. Almost immediately after connecting the antenna, the TV channels begin to appear. The picture is clear, the colors remain stable, and there are no continuous signal interruptions. To make the test more convincing, I'll perform one more experiment. I disconnect the antenna from the TV and observe the signal changes. As soon as the antenna is unplugged, the screen instantly returns to the no signal message. All channels disappear, confirming that the signal truly came from this homemade antenna. Now, I'll reconnect the antenna once again. As you can see, within just a few seconds, the channels reappear and continue working normally. This proves that many electronic parts that seem to have only one purpose can be reused in completely different and surprisingly useful ways. Not only does this save money, but it also opens the door to many more exciting DIY ideas. If you enjoyed this project or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support motivates me to continue creating more repair, recycling, and DIY projects in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.